Hey everybody, Elizabeth Varian here, and I have moved my webcam from the laptop to the monitor. So now we're going to move it out of the way over here. We've got our new background and our new setup, so I'm excited. We missed last week because my schedule was just all over the place, and I didn't want to just throw something together for you. I wanted it to be something that I thought would be of value to you. And this topic I have been wanting to teach for a while now. I've mentioned it before, I've kind of alluded to it, but this is one that I really think you really need to pay attention to. And the topic today, of course, is declutter home and mind for higher law of attraction energy. So we're talking about decluttering. But many times when we think of decluttering, we think of the first part, which is the home. Okay, Elizabeth, you're going to tell me I have to go clean my house. Don't you know how many kids and dogs and husband and spouse and, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever is home and blah, blah, blah. I do get it, but it's highly important, and it's not the only thing that needs to be decluttered. Let's start with that, though. Let's start with the home or material items, shall I say. And the first thing I want to talk about is an example of clothing. See, decluttering, one of the most amazing things that it does is it clears your energy vibration and your path. And typically when I declutter, I then go and sage the room and rooms that I've decluttered. When I moved into this office, one of the first things I did was I saged every room. And that declutters energy that you can't see, but you might be able to feel. Well, let's talk about the clothing first, and then we're going to shift over and talk about areas of your house and your mind and your life. It's not going to be a super long training session, but it's still powerful nonetheless. When I was about 20 years old and I was in Minnesota, I was making $19,500 a year, and that was before taxes. So, we all make it work, right? So money was tight. And when I went to my closet, I wasn't able to utilize a lot of the clothing that I had brought from Iowa to Minnesota for my work. And it didn't suit me anymore because I was then at that point, about 24 years old. And a lot of the clothes I hadn't bought since I was 19. And, 4 or 5 years is a big difference. So I thought, I know about, and again, this is before law of attraction was a thing. It was starting to become a thing, but I didn't have all the terminology. But I knew, when I've given things away in the past, that's kind of opened the door for me to get, and receive things. So let me give that a try. So I went and I cleared out the clothes. You know what? This doesn't serve me anymore. This doesn't fit me anymore. This is no longer who I am. You're kind of getting a drift here. This is decluttering. What doesn't serve you? Who are you no longer? And what doesn't suit you anymore? No matter what area of your life, those 3 things are huge when it comes to decluttering. And I gave the clothes away. About a week or 2 later, because we're going off my memory now, I was at lunch on a break, and I went to the mall in Eden Prairie, this is Minnesota, and I didn't think anything of it, but I was just walking around. I thought, I just maybe want to go for a walk or something, because inspired action, if you act upon it without realizing, hey, ding, 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 something's telling you to go here, and you're not being full on intentional and in the full knowledge of, you just go, oh, maybe I just want to go for a walk. And I go for a walk, and lo and behold, a store was going out of business. I literally got pieces of clothing. I had a handful of clothes that were about anywhere from $1 to $9 a piece. And they weren't the most extraordinary. It's not going to be Marc Jacobs and, Halston at the time. It wasn't going to be nowadays terms. It's not going to be Coco Chanel and, a lot of the brand names, but they suited me and I liked them and I could afford them and it filled my closet up. And how great would that story be if it ended right there? But it doesn't. See, another week or two after that, I was telling a friend of mine about this great deal. We were over at her sister's house, and her sister was listening to stories. She's like, I've got a few bags of clothes that I'm giving away. Do you want to go through them? Yeah, I have no shame in receiving handouts. Plus, she was my size, and she and I had the same taste in clothes. And I took about 75% of the clothes. These clothes were nicer, and they truly did go with my employment at the time, which was a broker's assistant at a discount brokerage firm and in the downtown area. And they were all wonderful. So between the clothes at the that were on clearance because of the going out of the business and the clothes that a sister gave me, my closet was packed within 3 to 4 weeks of giving my clothes away. It all started with clearing and decluttering and being proactive about it. Now let's talk about that home. You're like, okay, Elizabeth, I get it. Clothes I can do. If I haven't worn it in a year, I can give it away. If I get new clothes, great. If I don't, no worries. Our minds go, clothing is much easier. But the house, let's talk about the house. You live and work and breathe in your house. You may not work out of your house, but you are in your house more often than you're anywhere else. Unless you just started a business and you're going under work sweat effort and you're living at the office. Been there, done that. But our home is so reflective of who we are. And I decided late last year, and you heard me say this, I didn't want just a massive shift. I was white hot, on fire for change. I still am. It didn't dwindle. I have it still. And change is coming, and change has been coming. It doesn't always feel great, but then once I got past that, I realized, oh wait, that's part of the the master plan. It all works out. But I knew that if I wanted a massive change in my life, that I needed to do something now. And this was last year. So you think the first thing I did was I created my list. I'm going to start this business, do this, do that, go do this marketing, go out and do this networking, go do this sales. Not what I did. Not what I did at all. See, I don't just want massive shifts and changes financially and abundance in the bank account. I am looking for massive shifts and changes in my love life, as in attracting it. I am looking for massive shifts and changes in how I live for my body as a temple, losing weight, which I have been doing. I get stuck every now and then, but that's okay. I take breaks and then I come back to it. And having that shift so that I create the lifestyle of having the healthier body and enjoying it is not a 5-second fix. It sounds easy. Oh, just diet, whatever. It's not how it works. Diet and exercise, if that was all you had to do, everybody would be thin if it was easy. Unfortunately, we have a weight issue, and it's not just because people don't want to be thin. The diet and weight loss industry is billions and billions of dollars. Oprah didn't buy Weight Watchers because she thought she was going to make a few dollars. She knew it was a huge industry to get into. And part of me wonders if she joined it as the attraction and accountability. I own this weight loss business, therefore I stay in the body I desire. I don't know. It's a guess. So if I have these massive changes in my life that I desire, then the first thing I did was not make the list. The first thing I did was I went home and I looked around. And you know what I saw? Clutter everywhere. I am the biggest clutter bug. Okay, wait. I thought I was the biggest clutter bug until I watched the show Hoarders. Then I realized I wasn't so bad. I'm okay, but I still have piles of clutter everywhere. The other thing I did was I looked around and realized, most of the stuff on the walls and the decor no longer represents who I am. I have become more contemporary with a romantic feel. I am less traditional. Some of the pieces I've still had were from past relationships that were toxic, no longer were positive to me. They represented and reminded me of something that wasn't happy. I had some items that I had just because when I bought it, that's what I could afford. So it was a time of living in lack, and it represented that lack. So the first place I hit was my bedroom. And the reason is because my bedroom was for my romance. And I was like, I want to feel feminine here. At a manifesting event in January, they had said about balance. So that re-altered my changes because that was the first place I hit. And so I rearranged the bed and I put balance on both sides with 2 side tables. And I was like, man, that messed up my original thought. But that's okay. So I went through and I looked at things and said, does this serve me anymore? Does it represent who I am? And is it really serving me? And if it didn't, it went. And I have literally redecorated my entire bedroom, all the shelving on the wall. The only thing that stayed was a couple of standalone closets for my shoes. I love my shoes. And my bed. Kind of need my bed. And my grandmother's dresser. Because to me, the romance of the story of it being handed down is part of who I am. But everything else went and totally redesigned it. My dad went on a road trip, and when he had been paying for a storage unit, and I'm like, why are you paying for that unit? We got this room right here that used to be my home office. I'm not using it anymore. It's the same size as your unit. Just put things in here. Well, when that happened, it then became the place that we put things. Oh, I don't know where to put this. Just put it in this room. And this room started to turn into an animal that was overtaking. And not a clean animal, a nasty, dirty animal that was clutter everywhere. The litter boxes in this room and just nothing positive when I walked by this room. So while he was gone, I hadn't planned on it initially. I just walked through the room one day going, you're next. And I went through and decluttered and reorganized. It took me several months. So if you're telling me I'm a single mom, I have a job, first of all, if you're a single mom with kids that are, say, 10 and over, make it a game. And I know you're yelling, please get my kid to work. There's tricks to getting your kids to help you out. It's a treasure hunt. And again, does it serve me? Does it represent who I am? And is it bringing me joy, right? It literally took months. And there were some weeks I didn't even want to look at it. I'm not going in there. But once you get in there, make that time little by little. Just keep at it. And it really clears it out. And I like this room now. It's really well done. And I found some things that I thought my dad had tossed. So while he wasn't there, they got tossed. He does a lot of package mailing. So I created an area and a center for all his packaging and his packaging products. We didn't create a disservice for other people in the house. We made it work for all people. And that takes a little learning. And there was sometimes I got on the internet going, okay, how do I do this? I've also joined a decluttering Facebook group that keeps you accountable by having you take before and after photos. That's something I've recently done. So if you're needing accountability, I would recommend looking it up. If you'd like to know what it is, drop a message under the YouTube video or the Facebook post, and I will add the link gladly. So over cluttered, it literally took me months tossing out things. See, I'm not reading my notes directly this time. Anyway, so then I sat one day in the living room, and the storage room had been done, my bedroom had been done, and I had a housekeeper cleaning my house. I love, love, love her, but I didn't want to be in her way. And I was thinking, oh, I got home early while she was still there. And I sat on my couch going, well, what else can I do so I can get out of her way? And I had this kind of nudge, nudge, nudge on my spiritual brain, kind of the universe going, I have some ideas for you. Be careful what you ask. And I looked around and I'm like, oh my gosh, I bought all this wall decor right after I got divorced. I haven't changed it in 15 years. It's still this brown wooded decor. It doesn't suit me anymore. It's very traditional in style. And there's nothing wrong with traditional, except it no longer represents me, whereas I'm now more contemporary with a touch of romance. Touch of romance would be silk flowers, hearts, not like a child's room with hearts and things, but I have these mirror hearts in my bedroom that are really kind of cool. And so that adds that romantic flair to it. I mean, if you watch how I dress in a classic romance style. So it just needs to flow out into my space. I thought, okay, I have limited budgets at this moment. I'm going to go and just hit the local TJ Maxx and Ross. That way I'm out of her hair, and how long would it really take just to change out wall pictures, right? And knickknacks on shelving. It took 2 weeks. It took 2 weeks because I made one rule. If I held it and I didn't love it and feel a connection to it, it stayed at the store. If I liked it, I sort of liked it, it stayed at the store. Only thing that came home with me is something I felt connected to. So I literally hit 2 Ross stores, 2 TJ Maxx's, 2 Home Goods, 2 Tuesday Morning stores. Some of these are just in Southeast Florida. And a Steinmark store, buying all the wall items and decor. And Esther even got a new bed out of it because her old bed didn't match the new furniture. Yay, Esther, she's happy, my kitty. But you know what? I'm not done yet because now I'm looking at painting a couple of items. When I was done with most of the stuff on the wall, I'm like, oh my gosh, this room feels so much lighter. It feels amazing. And now I've shifted to the kitchen. You want to lose weight? Decorate your kitchen that brings you joy so you want to cook healthy meals. Not heavy in decor, which makes you want to eat nothing but crap or carbs, which is my love. So all of these examples are great, but let's give it down to the teaching, the finite of why it works. First, I know that I intend for massive positive change, and I know my environment is reflective of my energy. If there's clutter, then there's going to be clutter in my energy in my life. If I have items that no longer serve me and are of who I was in the past, then I keep that energy that no longer serves me and that clutter of who I once was interfering with who I am now. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Your home and your work environment is an outward visual. It's, everybody says, well, Elizabeth, you're always talking about up in here or that nail bed area. I want to see things now in the tangible. Well, this is your tangible change. It is the outward view of how you're feeling internally. And if you start shifting and changing that, your mind will start working differently. And mine does, and it has. The bedroom is a sanctuary for vulnerability, love, and close relationships. Is it cluttered? Is it representing who you are and what kind of relationship you want? Or is there imbalance or balance? You may be in a relationship right now where you would like to have a closer relationship. Well, is everything separated out in the room? Or do you have things together but still nice? Or is there clutter? Sometimes we see these home makeovers and I don't know how they're sleeping in the bed together. So, your home may not be needing hoarders, but decluttering that bedroom really opens up that love energy. And I have, from Pixie and the Bull, all my crystals on my dresser, and I even bought a little container for some of the loose jewelry that I wear frequently on my dresser, and it has the word love there. My scales are right in front of it, so every morning when I weigh in, I'm looking at everything that represents the type of relationship that I am bringing to my life. It's a daily reminder that love exists in my life and to think on it and to visualize it. So it doesn't just clear it, but it also gives you mind shifts, and that's phenomenal. So the website Good Vibes with an S blog.com. So GOOD, V as in Victor, IBES blog.com. In their post by a master coach, Susan Rasmussen, titled Manifesting Change by Changing Your Space. Now I'm going to read this specifically, so if I'm not looking at you, don't worry. Excuse me, let me get some water first. I liked what she said and the steps to take so that you have actionable items. Says, our home reflects everything about you. Look, she agrees with me. Of course she does. That's why I grabbed it. And right now, your home is either supporting you fully or being a place that inspires and motivates and nourishes you. Or it is dragging you down one pile or irritation or frustration after another. How well put is that? Then she went on to say, to start the process of changing your space. And I'm going to put the link to this blog post on the Facebook comments up above or the YouTube notes below, and in the podcast when they get those on there. So step 1, start by noticing the hot spots in your house. Which areas do you dread, avoid, or feel anxiety about? All 3 of those are energy-focused actions or emotions. Pay attention to that. That was the storage unit for me. Now nice, love it, right? Next, imagine a lovely place in your mind. Think of a space, either indoor or outdoor, that makes your heart sing. It might be a place you visited or seen in a magazine or dreamed about. Come up with 3 words to describe the essence of that place or how you feel when you imagine that place. That's step 3. Step 4, make one change in your hotspot in your home that will bring you in all 3 of your new essence words. For example, you might bring in an item to decorate the space that conveys all 3 essence words. Step 5, get rid of something in that same space that has been creating the anxious or unpleasant feeling for you. Now, her way of doing it is one thing at a time. Me, I stop and I visualize the wall first, and then I go shopping. And I did massive. My all those stores for my living room, and I got 3 items for my bedroom that made me love it even more. They came to about $300. I went between credit card and paying out of my account, but it was worth it to me to do a massive shift all at once. That serves who I am. I love change. I took Tony Robbins' tests on, covering the 6 things that, everybody wants in life or as driving forces in life. My number 1 is uncertainty. I like variety. I like change. And so for me to do it all at once, it brings me not anxiousness of negativity. It brings me, woohoo, positivity. My arms go open. I circle. I dance. I sing more. That's good for me. If you're a person that goes, whoa, change, no, then her way of doing it, which is why I wanted to bring this in, doing one item at a time might serve you. So don't try and jump in with an action item that's like what Elizabeth does and goes and takes everything off the walls. Goodwill had a lot of trips. I believe I took 7 trips between all 3 rooms, probably a little more than that. And I sent my dad on some, and I have a whole pile now. My kitchen is what I'm working on now. I finally changed it to a Tiffany blue and browns and blacks. So I haven't decided on brown or black. I think I'm shifting with black though, because I just love that finiteness. But basically with you, feel it, lean into it. Do I need to do the one step at a time? Or am I like Elizabeth and let's take everything off the walls and let's go shopping? And let's make it okay that it takes a little while to happen. In addition to your home space, I would recommend strongly to have, if you have control over your work environment. Some people don't, Let's say you work at a fast food restaurant or you work at a Walmart. You have 0 control over your environment. In a Walmart or a restaurant, McDonald's was my first job. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. So that's their saying. And I would just make my environment when I work there as clean as possible. Not necessarily need to go to an extreme OCD, but that's your space. That's where you're going to be for the next 8 hours. So that's a little bit of control. But if you have an office, a desk, a cubicle where you can bring in items, I have, let me see if I can show it to you. I have this on my desk. I am a winner every day. I designed this on Redbubble, and it's not that expensive. It's like $20 some or something like that. But I have it on my desk every day, and I've been doing scratch-offs. The first one, I thought I won 8. I couldn't know if I won 8 or 6. My dad took it in for me and says, no, you actually won $2 more. You got 10. And I told him to just trade it out for tickets. So the 2 tickets came back and I got 15. So it's winning. It's working. I have things that, represent me in my office. The other thing is when you walk in my office, you not only see, this is my desk. This is where I work. This is not my desk chair, the big black chair everybody complained about saying it made me look heavier, and that's a good way to get me to not use that. But this background is always up. I don't just put it up for videos. This salt light, I have it on every day. Whether you guys are part of my day or not, this salt light is always on. And I have on a shelf back that way. I don't know if I can. No, I can't. But I was going to say I don't want to play with the camera. But over off to each side, actually, are shelves. And my products sit there so that I can visualize them as sold. So I use my environment to help me with my manifesting. But in addition to that, I have on my windows drapes. How many offices do you go where you have beautiful curtain rods that I think they were $20 at Home Goods, and then the drapes were a set of 2 that was also about $20. It was like $30, $40 for both windows. And they're a nice soft sheer with a light pattern. When people walk in my office, the first thing they say is, wow, it's so peaceful in here. Done. That's exactly what I wanted to create. And I'm very particular because I live at least 8 hours minimum a day in my office 5 days a week, sometimes on Saturdays when I, do a little extra. So I do get some occasional clutter here and there. That's an ongoing battle of the creative mind. We're used to, I know where everything is, don't mess with my clutter. But that's something that's important to me. So I say home in the title, but it just has to be your environment and decluttering that. Now let's talk about the mind. And this one is extremely important to me because it's something that I deal with on an ongoing basis. I had someone tell me, it's because you're an empath, you're dealing with the chaos of other people's energies. Sometimes that's true, but not always. So confusion and chaos, it's the number one struggle that I deal with. Anytime I'm not manifesting my intentions and it isn't wait for it, there's an uneasiness in my own energy, it's most often directly correlated to the lack of decisiveness, lack of focus, or confusion about what do I specifically want, and chaos just starts coming into my life. It is the number one thing to make my brain just rattle. And all of them are signs of needing to declutter my mind. So let me give you an example of that. So I told you I've been manifesting knowingly off and on since I was about 8 years old. And I say off and on because sometimes I go, okay, we're going to do this. And then I get back into the way of life. I'm human just like the rest of us, everybody else, right? So in early 2000s, when I had first started Webmaster for Hire Business, I was building small budget sites. You're talking $500 sites. And it was just me and the company. That's why it's called Webmaster for Hire. I was the webmaster. And one week I decided, you know what? I want $6,000 by Friday. And I decided, okay, every day of the week, I'm just going to close my eyes and I'm going to see the dollar sign and the $6,000 and imagine it as done and go about my day. I would do it a couple times a day if I thought about it, more, but mostly just once or twice a day. And I did it every day. And guess what? By Friday, I had the $6,000. And my mind goes, well, if that's all I have to do, that's easy. I'll just keep doing that. As easy as that was, then something really interesting happened the following week. I couldn't stick with a decided number. I said, well, I got $6,000 last week, so this week I'm going to focus on $10,000. And as I tried to focus on 10,000, 15,000 would pop in, 20,000 would pop. It created chaos, and I couldn't keep the strong focus. And I gave up saying, that just doesn't work. It was a one-time fluke. This is why I tell you, don't give up. It's not a one-time thing, or things will happen as long as you stick with them. But I didn't manifest any extra money. That chaos happens for many reasons. It isn't the same issue for everyone, and you really should be journaling, for clarity. And that's what I've learned to do as chaos comes about. And for me, I've told you before, I go back to the Bible. If God and universe, whether it be a poem or actuality, use the words, let there be light, and there was light. Let there be, and there was. Let there be, and there was. I have consistently used that, like if my introvertedness has to go one-on-one with a brand new person I know very little about, and my shyness kind of creeps in of uncomfort, on the way there, I'm always going, let there be great conversation, let there be peace, let there be, release, and I go in and I get every bit of it. That's me setting my intentions. I connect to it. before I speak, let me be calm and enjoy the moment and savor the moment. Let the audience receive the words. Let this happen. When I journal in the morning, let me be in peace. Let me do that. So what do? When there's need for clarity, let me have clarity on insert issue. Let me feel peace about my decision. If my decision doesn't align with my intention or my soul or who I am, then show me the decision that will bring me focus. Let me have clear focus this week on insert issue. Do you see how that works? How easy it is? Clarity in the mind is what you really need to be consistently showing up in your life and believing. And having that where it works one moment, it doesn't work the other, and you see that chaos happening, it's a red flag to you to pay attention. And I get it quite a bit, like in my business and stuff. This week, wasn't even this week, it was this year. It was go back to the last thing you were told. I have a whole teaching to give you on that. Go back to the last thing you were told. And we go and visit Jonah in the Bible, and it doesn't matter if you like the Bible or not. That is the best story on go back to what you were told. Because what happened in his life? Chaos. Tossed over in a ship, stuck in the belly of a whale, spit out where he was supposed to be headed anyways. It's just chaos comes about when either you had a step you were supposed to take and you didn't take it and you still need to take it. And for me, it was the coloring books. It was this coloring book was the first one, and the health coloring book, which is in the process of review, was the second one. I started this process 2 years ago. And then I shelved it when my friend passed away because I got too focused on my sorrow that I didn't keep doing this. And then I was to come and do a landing page, and I put it off almost all year long. And now I got all the components together, and I have the team building it out. All of a sudden I have forward movement. Then another exercise I planned to teach you about was my forgiveness. I had already taught you about it with clearing. I did that this week when it came to my finances, and I felt so free. So when you get chaos in your family, step back. You don't necessarily have to bring the sage out, doesn't hurt, but step back and journal on it. What am I supposed to learn from this chaos? Am I lacking focus for making decisions somewhere in my life that is creating this? So am I making a decision that created this chaos and I'm not connecting the two, and I should be thankful for this? Show me clarity and consciousness and conciseness in my day to clear through this time. See, I get better results this way. When I feel the chaos in my life, client reactions, emergencies, family chaos, or my own emotional feeling of chaos, I'm learning to stop, meditate, and journal. It's a sign, and you need to declutter it and not be reactionary. That's what the rest of the world is doing. You can go on Facebook and see everything reactionary, whether it be political or someone posting the ambiguous posts of people suck in my life. Whatever it is, it's all reactionary. But everything in your life is coming up for a reason. And decluttering the chaos in your mind will help you have clarity and conciseness in your intentional manifestation. Our minds need to be decluttered frequently. We also have to be evaluating what we put in them. Here comes confession. I think I've already confessed this. I have stopped watching this one show. Actually, I've stopped watching like 2 or 3 of them. Anyways, realizing that a lot of chaos is happening also because of books we read, conversations that we have with people that bring us anxiety or clutters our brain. Gossip, about this person, and you're friends with that person, but you're going, really? And your thoughts about that person are up and down. The Bible says that gossip is like a choice morsel going deep down into a person's body. And the choice morsel sometimes is translated as chocolate. Ever think they're pointing out women all the time with gossip? And again, I'm not a Bible teacher, but what a great representation of what gossip does to us. It's an external coming in and going down. And complaining, allowing conversations that are external where people are complaining. Just walk away. And of course, television shows. I was watching some reality shows and they played out in my life, that drama. And so I'm shifting away from all that. And I've weeded most of them out. It really cuts out on the options for watching television. But I've freed up time for activities like reading, going for a walk, or doing my own pages for the coloring book, which I've been trying to post as I go. I usually do one page for the week, so it takes me a while. So decluttering your environment physically and decluttering your mind will really free up every aspect of energy so that you can shift and stay focused on the positive. There are other areas of your life that decluttering is useful that I'm not going to go into because I think you can figure it out yourself. But there are some toxic friends, maybe family members. You need to reduce time with toxic family members, activities, habits like overeating, smoking, drinking, excessive shopping, for not the reasons of knowing the funds are there, but shopping as sabotage, very different. Beliefs that no longer serve you, etc. The home and the mind are great starting points, and getting to the others as you become more expansive energy. This decluttering frees up space and mind for better energy and manifesting results. So hopefully, oh look, I have a hair that's been there the whole time. So hopefully this has been a valuable teaching for you. It's been going on, and lately I've noticed like there's that Facebook group for decluttering. Sarah Prout, who is one of the money coaches that I teach or tell people and recommend if you're looking for a coach or a course, she's one of them. And decluttering, she's now doing courses on them. And it's something that I've always done. It's very valuable. There's nothing negative that comes from decluttering. Even if you throw something out that you realize later you wish you hadn't, you're still okay. I tossed a card from an ex-boyfriend accidentally and realized, now this is a boyfriend who had passed away. When I realized I had done that, I just reminded myself, you know what? His memory is within me. It wasn't in that piece of paper that I wasn't even looking at and seeing on a regular basis. So be joyful. Go to, ding, 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 go to Amazon. Check out my author page. A lot of our blog posts are now being filtered in there. And look for the health adult coloring book coming soon for positive health. If you know anyone in waiting rooms dealing, with dis-ease in their body, it's all positive health. And this is, if you have a business, network marketing organization that you're part of, this helps you to focus on the mindset of business success. So until next time, be that joyful manifester and go declutter. Bye.